Welcome back to Cageside. We've been kind of gone a little bit. Things have been changing behind the scenes. I promise it's all good things. The show is going to continue to grow, continue to evolve, and still on the mission to not only be the best MMA show in general. Ara Hawani's going to be out. All these fucking people are going to be out. I promise you that. I mean, I like them. I'm just joking. But as far as the Philly show, I promise you that it's going to become the one show everybody's watching, and it's coming right from here. We're going to jump into a quick episode today because honestly, there's not much to discuss, in my opinion. But the main event itself is worthy of a big conversation. I got my boy Chris on the show today. Again, to break this down, he's back. The one and only Green is making his first main event, I believe, since in the UFC. Yep. Bro, he's been in the UFC for a hot minute. The fact that it's just now that he's getting this chance, I don't know. I kind of feel like he's getting one of these, like he's fallen somewhere between a Diaz and a Masvidal kind of status, where the swagger has carried him into like center stage. Am I crazy for thinking that?
No, I mean, Bobby Green is swag comes to mind when we think about Bobby Green. I mean, an absolute. He's recently, his last couple of fights, he's become a fan favorite. Like the last card in Houston, it was so nice to see everyone cheering for him. I mean, he's in the prime. He's 35, but I would probably say he's in the prime of his career right now. He hit it a little later. I mean, you gotta love Bobby Green. If you don't love Bobby Green, I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
get the hell out of here. The guy's super likable. I mean, the guy's super likable. And it's one of those. So let's explain. I mean, obviously, if you're watching this show, chances are you already know the deal. But Islam Makhachev, who has a massive hype train behind him, as far as being a Khabib style fighter with Khabib, behind him, set to be the replacement for Khabib, the next best thing in that division, whatever you want to call it. The guy is on a streak. The guy has that popularity, but in my opinion, he is, and in Green's opinion, he's not a fun fighter to watch, and the star quality is not there. So, in fact, his last fight, and I want to hear your take on Makhachev's last fight, but his last fight to me was. It kind of made me feel like I don't know what people see in this guy besides the control on the ground, which is huge. I understand that, but besides that aspect of it, as a star, I don't see it. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong in terms of being a star. I think that region, that Dagestan, the Muslim region, they get behind their guys 100%. They are massive stars over there. To us, in North America, we don't really see the appeal, but those guys get behind their guys 100%. With the appeal to Khabib, because Khabib, has massive numbers. They get behind him. But in terms of personality and fighting style, it's never gonna be. He's never gonna be massive over here. But for over there, yes. But.
Right, and it took somebody like Khabib to go against a big. It took a big rivalry with a Conor to make Khabib be the superstar that he became. Like you said, I think you're 100% right. And where he's from, and in that side of the world, I mean, we can't even understand the level of popularity these guys have. Which is cool, but the UFC, has a world appeal, and a big part of the world and the fans are in North America. And so when you have the balls as an association, right, or a promotion, to grab somebody like Green and put him in there with last minute notice, is it a risky move for the UFC to lose that star in Makhachev? That's a worldwide star. Or do you think they just are counting out Green altogether?
I mean, any guy at this point in Makhachev's career, he's a top 5 fighter. Any guy they put him in there with is going to be risky. I mean, Beneil Dariush, who he was slated to go up against, he was probably going to be more risky than a Bobby Green. But I mean, I do think he can be that guy for them to headline an Abu Dhabi card, once a year. But I mean, Bobby Green, I think he's got a shot. I think he's got a good shot. I think he's probably the hardest test of Islam's career. I think he's probably a little bit tougher than a Dan Hooker. It'll be interesting to see, though. I mean, if Bobby Green wins, I'm sure if Bobby Green wins, that would be crazy. So,
So I like Dariush. I don't know. He's got that like school teacher badass appeal to him.
Mm-hmm. The gray hair.
Yeah, he's super likable. He also isn't like, huge star potential either.
I mean,
so to me, that fight was going to be also like who's the most skilled. That's what they were fighting for. This fight excites somebody like myself, which maybe it's a sign of my lack of interest in the ground game versus the striking. And listen, I'm proud to say I'm a striking first kind of
for sure.
And high level striking. I'm not talking about being a brute, even though you can still get those shirts online. But I think somebody like you put Green in there. Now I'm pumped. Now I'm excited for the fight. Now I think it's worthy of an upset of getting those nerves inside you when you're watching it. Green could be taken and controlled, very easily in the fight right away from the beginning, and then that's it. That's the night.
Mm-hmm.
Could happen. He took it on short notice. Proved that he's a badass. Cut all this weight. So I think nobody loses in this situation. But if there's an upset, I think there's a lot there for Green.
Oh my gosh.
Sure.
Oh, I mean, the MMA world would be turned upside his head if Bobby Green wins. But Bobby Green has absolutely nothing to lose. I mean, Islam Makhachev, you have the whole, Middle East region. You have your Habib's prodigy. Everyone's hyping you up. I think he's on a 9-fight win streak. He's saying that he's next for the title. Bobby Green, 10 days notice. You're just doing your thing. He doesn't care. He doesn't have a region behind him. 3 million Instagram followers. He has nothing to lose, and that's what makes him dangerous. He can just do crazy stuff in there. But
he's the volume striker and the exciting type of matchup for anybody. So it'll also be good actually for Makhachev, because if Makhachev can stand and bang a little bit more than we're used to seeing him, can show other skills that maybe we haven't seen. Listen, DC recently said in an interview to Makhachev that you got to watch how Green's wrestling. It's also very high level. Makhachev laughed at it and said who says who his wrestling is good. Let's just, in like a perfect world, say that Green's wrestling is enough to keep Makhachev on his feet for longer than normal, and you get to see some exchanges. I think that'll win me over for Makhachev, and that'll surely win over even more people for Green. So it's a win-win for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well,
go ahead.
Oh no, you can go ahead. Sorry.
No, I got nothing to say.
Well, I was thinking, I've seen a few people saying that they think the striking is a toss-up, but that kind of shocked me a little bit. I kind of thought Bobby Green is much, much more of an advanced striker than Makhachev. I mean, Makhachev's striking is still pretty unknown. We've seen a little bit. It looks all right. But, I mean, Bobby Green, there's not a lot of guys in the UFC. I think he's not a lot of guys in the UFC, have the hands of Bobby Green. He's super fast, super accurate, super slick. I kind of think, he's much better in the stand-up realm than Makhachev. People saying it's a toss-up. Yeah, I just don't see that. I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting, Bobby Green. And something I like about Bobby Green is he gets to it. He gets on it right away. He'll throw the jab, the 1-2. He's not going to be like a feel-out process where he's tapping some leg kicks. He's game face, switched on right away. So I think that's what you need to fight a guy like Makhachev. So
I think you're 100% right in that. Well, people are fucking nuts comparing both of their striking. That's like Khabib was good with his striking, but he was good with his striking in order. Like, he's a fucking fighter. He better be good enough with his striking.
Yeah.
But he was nowhere near any of the high level strikers out there, and there's a reason why they stick to grappling. Makhachev has, to me, shown absolutely nothing either. He knows as much as he's supposed to know as a fighter.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that in August, I mean, Bobby Green's on a 2-fight win streak. His last loss in August versus Rafael Fiziev, really close fight. I mean, people are saying Fiziev is the best striker in the division, and Bobby Green was just dropping body kicks on him, going with him. I mean, that's high level shit right there. So Islam Makhachev is not going to be like dropping body kicks with Rafael Fiziev. He's just not going to be. So, I mean, it really is, can Green's grappling hold up? I think that's the big question.
Right. Do you think Green can keep Makhachev going backwards? Can he keep him off pace? Or, you know what I mean? Because I think that'll be a huge factor, I think, not letting Makhachev control the movement in the cage.
I'm not sure if he will be able to stop the pressure of that. That's probably not. But the good thing with Bobby is he's a really good striker off his back foot. You know, he can launch ones, he can launch twos, he can launch jabs, 1-2s, check hooks. He can do all that off his back foot. He's really accurate like that. I mean, Ali Quinta was pressuring him, and Bobby was just picking him apart. Landed a really super clean 1-2 right down the pipe. So he's a really good striker off his back foot. So that'll help him.
I like Bobby Green because he's so snappy with his combinations, and you don't see that in MMA that often. Where, like you're saying, listen, it's small gloves, right? So you can get through a lot easier than if you were boxing, for example. Mm-hmm. But not a lot of fighters can do that. You know, a lot of fighters rely on these bigger bombs, or you know, these overhand rights, or use the leg as a setup, and then go up top. But somebody like Green that can put them together like that and land a three that puts out somebody like Iaquinta, who went the distance with Khabib, not to keep on bringing Khabib up. It's a big deal. I think it is a big deal. It shows the level of striking ability and boxing ability that Green brings to the table. Sure. This is a super. This is one of those things where the UFC almost gave a thanks to Green for his last performance by giving him this opportunity. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Kudos to that shit.
I mean,
for all of us.
You got to call these other lightweights like a Gregor Gillespie, a Mateus Gamrot. You know, they're talking about. I mean, Gillespie. I heard him talking about like calling out Tony Ferguson. He wants to come up. I mean, you know, Bobby Green was at 190. He said, you know, and he's gonna come down and do it. He fought last week. You know, Gregor Gillespie. He has no excuse. What is he at? You know, he's probably at 190 or something. You know, that's a jump up right there. So Bobby Green, OG gangster. You know, you have to respect him. He's so real. I mean. He's really the BMF, in my opinion. So, like, you know, the other guys, you got to, like, call out their bullshit, you know? So.
I agree. You know what it is? These other guys still have this hope. They haven't been around long enough. And if they've been around long enough, they're chasing the title, no matter in what place they're at. They don't want to go against. They know the chances of losing are very high.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Why would they get there until Makhachev has the belt?
Yeah, who would rather risk it against like a Tony Ferguson who doesn't, you know, looks a little past it than Islam Makhachev who, but I mean, you got to hand it to Bobby Green. You really do. There's nothing to lose. I'm excited. I just, the grappling concerns me a little bit. I don't think Bobby Green, even though he does have good wrestling, now that he, you know, he's had wrestling in his background before, but, you know, he always wants to be entertaining. He was talking about it in his press conference yesterday. He always wants to be entertaining, so sometimes he doesn't look to wrestle. I mean, but I don't think Bobby Green could go out there and get a Kimura on Dan Hooker in round 1. But I know he does have some good scrambles. He does have, I don't know, we'll have to see. If he can just stuff a couple, he doesn't stuff a couple, and then he can just start striking. But
it's if he doesn't get frustrated, but is clever enough to do the type of thing that will throw Makhachev or will delay the Makhachev, you know, tactic, we could see something there. If he falls victim and frustrated like a lot of other fighters, and you know Makhachev just gets control, you know, after one takedown after another kind of thing, it's gonna be done. It's gonna be done quick, or it's just gonna be a very bad fight, very bad night for Green. But I don't know, man. This has the making of a potential upset, close enough that it's worth really tuning in, making the bets, taking the risk. Why not? You know, it's one of those that doesn't come often.
Yeah. I mean, Bobby Green is a massive, massive underdog. I think it's like almost minus 1,000, which is just crazy. But I mean, that would just be so, if you could pull it off somehow, whether he's stuffing the takedowns, finds a KO, I mean, I would love it. I'd be so happy.
I think it might be worth. So I don't bet often, and when I do, it's on massive underdogs that I feel like have a chance. I've won here and there for those reasons, and it's always like $100 is nothing crazy, but $100 when you're a minus 1,000 underdog.
Yeah,
that's the type of bet.
Oh my gosh, you make a lot of money there.
Yeah, man, why not? So that's the bet of the night if you want to take a risk and you know, instead of spending 100 on food or drinks, go ahead and put 100 on Green and support the guy. But we'll see, man. It can't come soon enough. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it as well. I mean, you know, if I'll tell you this, if my family was in danger and I had to save them by picking the winner of this fight, I'll probably pick Makhachev. However, Bobby Green all the way. Let's do it.
I've never thought of it that way. If my family was at risk, who would I bet on? My family would be screwed because I take weird bets. I bet on the underdog a lot.
But Bobby Green all the way. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm in, man. Anybody else on this card that you are interested in seeing? I can't say I know many of them.
The co-main feature fight aren't that good, but on the main card, Arman Tsarukyan versus Yoel. I think it's Yoel. I'm not sure if it's Joel. I think it's Yoel Alvarez. 17-2 for Tsarukyan, 19-2 for Alvarez. Both like young, up and coming lightweights. It's number 14 versus number 17 on Tapology. That's gonna be a really good fight. Joel Alvarez in his last fight knocked out Thiago Moises, who went 4 rounds with Islam Makhachev. And Arman Tsarukyan, his last loss in the UFC was to Makhachev, and it was super close. So a lot of these guys say these guys are gonna be like, top guys in the future. So that would be a really interesting fight.
Okay. I like that. Mm-hmm. Man, there's not many more people. First of all, it's when you're on the UFC website and there's only 4 fights listed.
Yeah, the website's always awful.
It goes to tell you something. Still, I think they saved this card by actually bringing in Green. It's going to get a lot more eyeballs than I think it would have to begin with.
Yeah, you love to see it. You love to see Bobby getting the love, getting the attention.
By the way, we'll talk about this next week. The next pay-per-view.
Oh my God,
Masvidal. I mean, dude,
the press conference alone.
Yes, I'm excited for this one.
Colby Masvidal. Oh,
we'll break it down and we'll see how things proceed. But I can't. As much as I like Masvidal, I'm kind of Colby all the way on this as far as who I think is going to win. Thoughts?
Initial thoughts is definitely Colby. I thought Colby beat Usman 3-2 in November.
Yep.
It was close, but Masvidal. We'll see if he can deal with it. Masvidal's a better striker. We'll see if he can deal with the takedowns. But I'm thinking Colby as well. But we'll see. It's Colby Masvidal though. The lead up, the fight itself, that's going to be so insane. I wish I was in Vegas for it.
It's the one we've been wanting to see for years. So I can't believe they made it, to be quite honest.
Do you think it's real, the beef? I do.
I think so. So, Nat, for sure. I think so because we've seen the reality of Colby's career and gym changes and all this stuff. So it makes perfect sense that they were at one point okay and now they're not. And then you got 2 guys with very distinct images they have to uphold. So, whether they hate each other and they want to kill each other like they're saying, probably not. But do they not like each other? Do they stand for 2 completely different things? Even though they're both Trump supporters.
They're Trump guy.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, they're going to amp it up so much more between now and fight night. So it's going to
gosh, the press conference. I don't even know what that's just going to be crazy.
It's going to be cringy as fuck, but also super entertaining. That's what I know. Not from Masvidal, but from Colby's side.
I know. I just don't know. Yeah, he's gonna do something crazy. I don't even know. He's gonna be screaming.
It's gonna be that's probably the funner pay-per-view that I know of coming up. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Matchups.
That's 273, not that fun. 274. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be like the most beef for a while.
Yeah. And then soon enough, I'm jumping way far, but soon enough, Dawkins is fighting Blades, which I didn't know. I found out during the last what was the last fight that we had?
Hill Walker.
No, but I've heard about it on the
Izzy.
In the Izzy fight. Yeah.
I think they announced it like sometime around then.
Yeah, which is that's a fun one. That's a big one
with fans too. The first fight night with fans in forever.
Is that what it is?
Columbus. So it's the first. It was supposed to be Blachowicz, Rakic. Yeah, so
that's exciting.
That's an interesting fight, Blaze Dawkins.
Yes, and by the way, I think Dawkins totally gets that, which is huge.
Because you think his ground game? I don't know. We haven't really seen his ground game.
He's good.
Yeah, really? Wow.
Yeah, the Dawkins brothers are both really good on the ground. You just when you're such a fucking heavy-handed banger like Chris is. Once again, let's please rule out the fact that Derek Lewis knocked him out. Like, that could just like with Tai Tuivasa, like that could happen any night.
Yeah, when heavyweight swing, I mean.
Yeah. So, but Curtis Blades, you know, not going to put out Daukaus. Daukaus can certainly put out Blades. And on the ground, I'm not worried about it. So, I think it'll that might be the one that sets Chris back up to be in the contender for the top 5 there.
I mean, Blades is, you know, top 4, top 5.
Blades is Blades, dude. Yeah. Anyway, I think we strayed far enough. What's the plans for the weekend? Where are you watching the fight? Are you watching it with friends, with family? Where are you at with it?
I'm not sure yet. Probably just with friends somewhere, but you know, we'll figure it out. But
are you like? Do you like to watch fights alone, or do you like to watch fights with people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about?
It depends, really. I mean, if it's like a big card, I like, you know, to have people with me because it's like big cards are fun. Like the McGregor, you know, have people over with it. If it's like a smaller card, you know, I probably just like, it depends what I'm doing. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I watch it with anyone. Like my mom, you know, over the summer she really got into it. So that's funny. But
that's awesome. Yeah. My family's been. I mean, the reason I'm so into this is because I grew up watching boxing with my family. My family's huge on boxing. Cool. You know, my grandfather was a trainer. It's been in the blood. I used to box and stuff. So we've always gathered for these massive boxing matches, and then that became UFC fights that we would get together. I would always host these massive parties for like you're saying, McGregor level fights. But in the last year, I've been much more happy by myself. You know, my wife or the kids or whatever sometimes stay up with me till midway through, or not even probably the main event, but midway through the night of fights, and then everybody retires, and then it's just me by myself. It's kind of nice to be able to focus on the fights and you know, and do your silent screaming in the air.
I know. Especially sometimes people don't know, and they're like talking shit about it. It's like, what are these guys doing? It's like, I don't feel like explaining. But.
You know what got me on that, to your point, what got me to want to watch them by myself was there was too many people starting disagreements for the fucking sake of disagreeing. And that can get so frustrating so quick. You're like, all right, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? We can all have our opinion, but let's not get into an argument about some dumb shit.
I know, sometimes we talking about the tattoos and shit. It's like, I don't want to talk about that shit, you know?
I know. Who's the most handsome? That's what the women are saying. The other guy's saying, this guy looks like this. And it's like, all right. Anyway, still for the big fights, I like to do a thing or two, but this weekend will be one of those fun, peaceful, enjoy the fights kind of night. Cool. Brother, it's been a pleasure as always. Let's do it again next week. And we will be chatting away Saturday night as we see Green take the win. Maybe, perhaps. That'll be fun.
Title shot next, baby. Bobby Green. Charles
Ooh. BMF, the real BMF. All right, brother. Let's wrap this guy up. Talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you.
Guys, tune in next week for more Cageside. Let's keep this thing going. Enjoy the fights.